Hey everybody, this is Jim the Tabletop Engineer. Welcome to a new playthrough video. Today I am going to be playing a new episode of Notorious. This is it's called Hardscrabble Bounty Hunting Amid Intergalactic War. It's a game by Jason Price. This is my second episode. The previous episode I rolled up my bounty hunter. His name is Arrell. He's an armorer. What do you call it? The armor. So yeah. Take that, and I did roll it. I was kind of maybe hoping I'd get one of these other ones, like the Uncanny, Scoundrel, Brute, or the Assassin, but I got a standard armor, so I'll take it. Today, what I'm going to be doing is I have a bounty. His name is Yuchu. He is a Murian, which is a rat-like species. I'm trying to find him. I am currently on Storix, which is an industrial planet. I have landed, and it is time to explore. The way this game works is it's a loop. You do an exploration where you roll on some tables, and then you end up at a destination eventually, and then you start it all over again. And you do this until you start acquiring allies, leads, enemies, and then finally, eventually, if you, with luck and enough iterations, you luck into having a showdown with your bounty or your target. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the hunt. The hunt says you'll do an exploration followed by a destination, but the exploration could have its own loops inside. And it tells you, what's really cool about this little rule book is anytime it tells you to go to a table in a superscript, or actually this is a subscript, it'll have a little number, and that's the page you go to, which I just love that. So when you're flipping back and forth from this book, it kind of tells you where to go. So we're going to go to page 52, and we're going to roll on the exploration. Now there are, you first roll to see what happens, and then if you get an event, you roll a d6, and there's 3 tables, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. So let's do the first exploration, and it says this is to find out what happens as you travel, and you just roll a d6. I rolled a 2. If your notoriety is 6 or higher, mine is 0, you encounter a lead. Otherwise, roll on the exploration events table. All right, so I will roll a d6 and consult the table, number 5. So that is this one. I roll a d6 again, 6. You wake up in your camp to find something personal has been stolen. A clear set of tracks extends off into the distance. Roll a die. 2. The thieves are long gone and you lose a motivation. What has been taken from you and how was it related to your origin? All right, so this is one of those things that I really like about this game is you're telling a story and you actually get to sort of make it up. It's a role-playing game without a GM, without a game master. So it says, you know, how is it related to your origin? My origin is I'm part of a warrior cult. Your armor is earned by defeating a huge beast. Well, I've got my armor. So the question is, what did they steal? Well, I'm gonna probably go and say that they stole an heirloom of mine. Maybe one of my good friends growing up in this group. When we split to go our separate ways and explore the galaxy, he gave me sort of I think it was his dad was in the military, or not in the military, but in this group, this warrior cult, there were different levels or different ranks, and his father was pretty high, and he had a number of medals, and so stolen would be a medal from a friend's dad. And the medal just reminds me of home, and it reminds me of the warrior cult that I belong to. All right, so after you explore, you go back and you do it again. So again, you go, and it says when you've completed the prompt, move to destinations. Okay, so I did complete that. That occurs you travel. So let's roll on the destination table, which is on page 56. So I'm traveling across this world. And my destination, 2. You arrive in a small outpost or enclave run by a challenging faction. Choose one. You can search for anyone who might know your target to gain a favor. You can speak with a local who works here, then rest to gain 1 motivation. Well, my favor's at 2, but my motivation is dropped. So what I'm going to do is while I rest and go back up to 2 motivation, I'm going to speak with a local. I'm not going to get a lead on this, but it's always good to make contacts in these small towns. You never know when you might be coming back to it. So the destination is a small outpost, and I spoke to a local and rested. All right, so that is my destination. I don't have to roll on any other tables. So now we go back to the exploration table. I rolled a 4. If your notoriety is 4 or higher, my notoriety is 0, by the way, so not going to get a lot here. You encounter a lead. Otherwise, roll on the exploration table. All right, I rolled a 5 again, so same table. Oop, let me roll it. 1. You hear a strange but familiar sound and find yourself drawn away from your intended path to investigate the source. Roll a die. 6. Same one. Same thing. Stolen. All right. So I'm clearly being followed and targeted here. So again, they stole something, but let me roll. 5. Hunt down and confront 3 small hostiles wielding shock rifles. How have the scavengers put your possessions to more inventive uses? All right, so we're at combat now. So there are three small hostiles. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, hunt down and confront. So we need to do to combat. So we go to, where was it? Sorry, I've got to jump around here. Attack. Threaten, attack. All right. So the attack reaction is your chance to incapacitate or kill a hostile, lead, or a target. I have 3 hostiles. So the way this works is the Nomad, and I'm going to roll green dice, and the bad guys will roll red dice. The Nomad, you add any attack modifiers from your equipment and any additional bonuses such as assets. The challenge die, you add the attack modifier listed for your opponent. There was not one. They're small. So they're going to be fairly easy. All right. So the way this works is I'm rolling a D6, and I'm going to be adding, I'm using my laser rifle. I'm going to shoot at one from afar and that'll probably draw the other 2. So the first shot I'm going to take is +3. So you come back here and it tells you how to do this. So I'm going to attack a hostile. I can do that, page 16. So I come over here, and the way this works is all 4 reactions require you to roll 2 dice, 1 for your Nomad, 1 for your opponent. If the result of the Nomad die is higher than the challenge die, you succeed. Each reaction has different, so I'm adding +3 to my die, and it's adding +0. So I got 8 to its 3, and I killed one. All right, so now the other 2 are going to come at me. I have a vibroblade, which is +2. So the second one attacks me, and he scores a hit. All right, so after 4, you roll challenge die. You can do that. Okay, so success, hostile or lead. Choose your opponent's face, spare or kill. So I killed him, and I gain a notoriety. So I'm up to 1 notoriety. Success on the target. Choose their fate and move to the epilogue. Success target. I'm sorry. Failure. If you fail an attack, it's time to roll for your fate. Roll a die. Choose one. So you roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I rolled a 3. Local law enforcement somehow interrupts the fight just as your opponent prepares to deliver the decisive blow. They leave or escape. Lose 1 notoriety. So I'm back down to 0. All right. But now I know that there's just 2 of them left. And they have stolen something else from me. This time, they stole, I'm going to say they stole one of my spare weapon clips that would not have been on my person, so they didn't disturb me when I was sleeping. All right, let's get back to it. So now I roll on the destination. Destination, roll a d6. 3. You arrive at a bustling market or traveling scrap crawler run by locals. Choose one. Roll once on the destination event, or speak with a local, then rest or barter and gain 1 motivation. Let's roll on the destination events. Let's try that. So the first thing you do is you roll a d6. I rolled a 5, so I'm turning to table 5, and you roll it again. 6. Something about this place feels familiar, like you've been here before. You wander aimlessly for a while. Roll a die. 4. It's a happy memory related to your origin. Gain a motivation. What familiar object or place do you spend some time interacting with? Well, given that I'm not on my home planet and I see something that sparks a happy memory, I'm probably going to say I spot a small ship that reminds me of when I was being trained as a pilot. So yeah, this is the destination. So I see a small, rare, not rare, but just an unusual ship for this area that definitely reminds me of home. So the destination was a bustling market, and I spotted an old ship, old familiar ship. All right, let's keep going. So that was the destination. Now we go back to the explore, and I need to roll. I haven't gotten any leads yet, but my notoriety is back down to 0, so I'm not doing so well. Let's see, D6, a 1. There's no sign of your target, but something interrupts your hunt. Roll on the explore table. Table number 1, all right, and the number is going to be 6. Some locals ask you to help them hunt down a monstrous creature. They seem reluctant to give you too many details. Choose one. If I defeat the monster, the monster is +3 attack, +1 heart, to gain 1 notoriety but lose a favor. What item or resource are they trying to retrieve from its lair? Watch them fail to take it down and gain a favor. What surprising ability did this monster display to ensure the hunt failed? Well, I'm gonna try to help them, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I have a +4 rocket launcher. I tell them, you know what? I'm gonna help you. And if this creature's as big and bad as you say it is, I'm probably going to need my rocket launcher, so let's go. So I'm +4, it's +3. That's a tie, right? 6 and 6. I can't remember what happens on a tie. Let's go take a look. If it's higher than the reaction, if it's higher than the challenge, it succeeds. Otherwise, it fails. So that's not good. So I failed. So when I fail, failure is roll a d6. 4. Law enforcement shows up. That really doesn't make sense, but you know what? Maybe this is an endangered creature and they don't like that. So I'm losing 1 notoriety. You can't go below 0, so I'm already at 0. And it says defeat it to gain 1 notoriety. I didn't do it, but lose a favor. What item or resource were they trying to retrieve from its lair? You know what? Probably some parts to repair some sort of generator that it says some locals needed me. So apparently this creature's sitting on some, I guess it takes loot for its nest or something like that. So failed to help the locals defeat a big creature, and I lost notoriety. All right, so after that, I go to destination. We're going to wrap this up in just a minute. Roll a 5. You arrive at a small spaceport. This will be a good place to stop. Destination. Spaceport. Run by the challenging faction. Resolve both. I gain a notoriety. If it's 5 or higher, a hostile grow. It does not. So I'm up to 1 notoriety. Roll twice on the destination events table. Okay, 2 things are going to happen. All right, so the first one is table 2 and number 1. Some locals enthusiastically direct you to a nearby scrap vendor or beast herder. You wonder if they're mocking you. Roll a die. 6. You find the asset you're searching for and may try to recruit them. How are personal transports or pack beasts put to good use around here? So I got an ally. I can try to do a recruit. All right, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to write this down just so I don't forget. And I'll come back and answer that question. So I have a recruit option. So you come here to recruit, which is on page 18. I get no bonuses for it. What did I roll? I can't remember. I rolled a 1. So, yeah, no benefit. So it's just, and I don't have any, for recruiting, do I add anything? Add half of your favor, rounded up. My favor is 2, so I'm going to add +1 to my die. And I got 3 to its 2. So I did win. Roll on the asset. So I got an asset. Nice. And it says roll on the assets table, choosing one of the 2 options to determine who they are. Okay, so let's first do that. So I'm going to roll twice. Roll choosing one of the 2. Okay, so I got a 1 and a 2. Scrap vendor or a crop farmer? Well, the scrap vendor, that makes sense. That's where I was just visiting. So the recruit is a scrap vendor. You may spend some time with them acquiring a pack beast or personal transport. Well, yeah, let's do a personal transport. I don't know if that personal transport gives me. It provides 1 heart against your next lead or target. +1 heart to lead or target. Then requires rest or repair and may not be used again. All right, so it's a one-time use. One-time use. So it will give me a bonus against the next lead. I'm going to sort of have this guy with me. All right, then roll on the species and personality. Well, okay, I guess I could do that. This is a one-timer, so I'm not going to worry about that. If this was going to last longer, like stay with me, I'd be concerned about it, but eh. So I got the recruit. I finished the destination. And it said, how are personal transports or pack beasts put to good use around here? Well, obviously, I'm getting into some areas of the planet that I'm not familiar with. I've gotten robbed. I got waylaid to fight some creature. I don't know my way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this public transport asset, and I'm going to use him next time to get to my next destination. And that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Notorious. If you'll stay tuned, what I do is I take all my rolls and all my narration and I mix it up with some artwork and some voice acting, and I make it into a little sub-story that will appear at the end of this video. So stay tuned. I'll be back very soon with another episode of Notorious.
My hunt for Yuchu Balon begins with the most vague of leads. His race, the Murians, are fairly spread out across the galaxy, but since Yuchu crossed the Red Moon Syndicate by selling spice for the Targ cartel, he was going to stand out. I dropped a few coins in the right hands of some spice dealers and found a large shipment sold by a Murian who arrived in a land transport in a small outpost just north of here called Dry Bed. There's no landing port or refueling pods there, so I'll be walking it and spending the night out in the wild. The walk was fairly uneventful, but during the night I was robbed. My old friend, Dine Rakis, his dad was one of the Mockley elite warriors who fought side by side with my parents before they were killed. He raised me as his own, and when I left to find my own path, he gave me a medal that he said my father had received for saving his life. The thieves ransacked my supplies and stole the medal. I followed some tracks, but they led to the landing site of a small ship that left no clues. If time permits after I find Yuchu, I may have to go looking for that medal. I continued on and entered the outpost of Dry Bed. As expected, there was nothing much of interest there besides the wreck of a Sambran orbiter. The sight of the ship brought back memories of home. I spoke to the small food stand operating out of it and a bit of luck was revealed. The operator remembered a Murian dropping off a number of large containers that fit the description of the illegal spice sale. The Murian pointed his land transport east in the direction of the Yarra spaceport. And that's where I chose to head next. Before I could leave Dry Bed, however, a family of farmers asked if I might be able to help recover some stolen farming equipment. A large Grak beast had come in the night and taken their largest harvester, probably to tear it down and use parts for its nest. I wasn't interested, but one of them had overheard me asking about bandits in the area. I was hoping to find some information about my stolen medal. They told me if I would help with the Grak beast, they could point me to a group of bandits operating nearby. So that led me to an encounter with the Grak beast. The encounter didn't go well. My rocket launcher wasn't able to make a dent in its hide. While I did escape, My armor has some new scratches and I'll have to remember that Grat claws come at the end of 7 fingers. I didn't bother returning to the farmers and instead headed to the Yarrow spaceport, another day's travel. That night, I was robbed again. Whoever was doing it was stealthy. Very stealthy. I'm a light sleeper, but this time they only got away with an ammo clip for my rifle. But this time, the robbers didn't get far. I tracked them just before they got in their jumper and got a lucky shot off. One down, but the other 2 moved in to strike. Before we could finish our fight, however, a Yarrow patrol showed up. The crew must have picked up on my rifle shot, and the surviving bandits got away. The patrol wasn't interested in hearing about my stolen metal and took off with a warning about fighting in the spaceport. I arrived at the spaceport that morning and began my hunt. As was expected, I didn't find Yuchu. He knew he was in trouble and was trying to lose any tails. But a nervous Murian makes mistakes. I traded the pilot helmet I got off the dead bandit with a scrap vendor. He offered to give me a lift in his personal transport out to Grave Flat. Why Grave Flat? That's where a nervous Murian was last seen heading. And that's where I'll be heading in an hour. My new friend and his transport may get me there in time to find Yuchu. We will see.